Good morning. Hello. You have tuned in to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1. We are all back. You will be delighted to know. We'll see. It's Monday, the 21st of August. Good morning, everybody.
Lovely to have a nice week off, and it's great to be back with you again this morning. We're going to dust off the weekend's cobwebs with newsreading legends, some newlywed disasters, and niche money-saving solutions.
Real tan, fake tan. Look at that tan. Look at you. You're golden. So nice. Now, Spain, of course, were next door to where you were. They walked away World Cup winners in and such an exciting match yesterday morning, and the Irish took centre stage in Budapest for the World Athletics Championship. We're going to be reviewing the weekend sport that's coming up at 7:15.
Budapest.
Budapest? Budapest? Is that not how Budapest?
That's how you pronounce it.
No, I don't say Barcelona. I say Barcelona. Is it not Budapest?
It is. With interest rates on the rise, we're going to investigate whether you get more bang for your buck with banking in Budapest.
And the former broadcaster, Eileen Dunne, is joining us for a look back on famous friendships and a celebrated career.
Now, Al, what else have we got to look forward to?
See, Susie, look, they're back 2 minutes.
I know.
2 minutes.
I know.
2 minutes.
The banter's there, though.
Susie Lee is starting our day off with a sugar high. What have we got?
We have got peanut and almond cookies. This is a very traditional Chinese cookie, and this is from my cookbook.
From your cookbook. Delicious. Looking forward to that. It's coming up later on. Plus, rugby royalty Brent Pope is looking ahead at the Rugby World Cup. That's at 8:15. And in a real whodunit, we chat to a popular broadcaster to find out what they did when somebody... What's the name of this podcast, guys?
Who beep on the floor at my wedding?
So we're calling it Beep on the Floor, are we?
I think we can pronounce what it is, but we'll maybe leave it for the 8 hour.
Yeah, maybe. It's such a good podcast. It's amazing. It's so funny.
Okay, that's coming up a little later on also.
You look delighted.
I'm delighted. Yeah.
Delighted. Derrico is back. The foursome are all together. How are you doing today, Derek?
Who pooped on the floor? What's the name of the podcast, guys?
That's it.
There we go. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed your holidays. Following Storm Betty, you missed it there Friday to Saturday. We had plenty of trees down, plenty of power outages. We much more improved, much more settled start date this morning before we see, guess what, more heavy rain on the way to the west into the northwest later on today. Heavy and persistent, backed by strong and gusty winds. So it really is a little bit of a calm before another bit of a storm on the way this Monday. But welcome back, Thelma and Louise. Hi, guys.
Derek,
Happy
I don't
Monday.
believe it. Bringing bad news to people this morning, but it is nice. It does seem quite warm out there this morning. Thank you very much, Derek. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on, but now it's time to get the news in the Virgin Media News Hub. Here is Cliodhna Russell.
Thanks, Tommy. Good morning. Post-mortem examinations are due to be carried out on the bodies of 2 men who died during an Ironman sports event in Youghal in County Cork yesterday. The men, aged in their 40s and 60s, got into difficulty in separate incidents during the swim section of the event.
Well, post-mortem examinations are due to take place on the bodies of the 2 men who lost their lives here in Youghal yesterday. The men who were in their 40s and their 60s were both competing in the half Ironman, or the 70.3 as it's known, an extended triathlon which was originally supposed to take place on Saturday but couldn't go ahead due to the aftermath of Storm Betty. So instead it was decided to run it alongside the full Ironman yesterday. The swimming portion of the event was up first. It's a distance of just under 2 kilometres, and it got underway just after 7 a.m. in very rough conditions, and unfortunately the 2 men got into difficulty in 2 separate incidents while in the sea, and it's hoped that this post-mortem will determine whether they suffered medical emergencies or whether something else happened. The safety boats were on standby and managed to take the men out of the water, and they were both treated at the scene. However, they were pronounced dead a short time later. Now, organisers have said in a statement that safety personnel provided immediate medical attention upon recognising that the athletes were in need of assistance, and that they shared their greatest sympathies with their families and friends, and will continue to offer them their support as they go through this very difficult time. The safety personnel were also assisted by members of the RNLI who were on a training exercise at the time and who assisted in bringing one of the men ashore. Gardaí and additional emergency personnel were also called to the scene, and the organisers of the event have thanked everyone who assisted in this incident. Investigations and reviews are continuing today.
A nurse in the UK found guilty of murdering 7 babies and trying to kill 6 others will be sentenced this morning. 33-year-old Lucy Letby was convicted on Friday following a 10-month-long trial. She is not expected to attend today's hearing, where she faces life sentences for the murders.
Oh, Lucy, is it? Yes. Hello, my name.
This is the UK's most prolific killer nurse. Following a lengthy trial, police shared body cam footage of the now 33-year-old's first arrest after she went on a year-long murder spree in a hospital in the northwest of England. A jury found Lucy Letby guilty on Friday of killing 7 babies and trying to kill 6 others, all while she worked on the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital between 2015 and 2016. The nurse who was responsible for caring for premature babies could also find out if she faces a retrial next month over further charges the jury failed to reach verdicts on. She has denied all the charges. The government is now launching an independent inquiry into how Ms Letby was able to carry out so many attacks before being reported to police. Lucy Letby is expected to be sentenced at 10 a.m. this morning. Anne O'Donnell, Virgin Media News.
Over 30,000 households have been told to evacuate in British Columbia as Canada continues to grapple with the worst wildfire season in its history. Cooler, wet weather over the weekend helped to control some of the blaze, but officials say the emergency is far from over.
British Columbia has declared a state of emergency. More than 30,000 people have been forced to evacuate their home in the Canadian province as wildfires edge towards towns and cities. 14 million hectares have already been scorched so far this year, a new record for Canada. Cooler, damper conditions helped over the weekend, but firefighters say they're far from being in the clear.
The winds died down. We didn't see the dramatic glow in the sky necessarily in as many places as we had the night before. So I guess if you could call that a reprieve, it was, but don't think for a second that it wasn't totally unprecedented last night after a totally unprecedented day of firefighting yesterday.
1,000 blazes are currently burning across the country in what has been the worst wildfire season Canada has ever experienced. Mairead Cleary, Virgin Media News.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you, Cliodhna, and a very good morning. We're broadcasting live here from the banks of the Royal Canal here in Dublin. What a weekend we had in terms of Storm Betty Friday and into Saturday. But you'd be glad to hear now it's improving for the first part of your Monday. So let's take a look weather-wise now at how it's shaping up with Jason O'Reilly with us on cameras. 21st of August, and it is a mainly dry and settled start out there this morning. So bright spells begin to push through that cloud, with the exception really of parts of the northeast where we're seeing plenty of showers now through counties Antrim County down, in around Monaghan and Cavan, not escaping either through Carrickmacross into Castleblaney, also up around Shercock and Baileyborough. So keep the rain gear at the ready there in those freshening southwesterly winds. Now, right across today, in fact, we're going to see that sunshine slip, and in behind us we're going to see that cloud thicken through parts of the west up around the northwest, where we're going to see some heavy and persistent rain there for a time. They will be backed by locally strong and gusty southwesterly winds. They will be potentially reaching gale force at times, especially for Connacht and northwestern coastal counties. So be mindful if you're in that neck of the woods. Top values in and around 70 to 22, and across into tonight it's another wet, another windy one in store to start. The driest really across the eastern, southeastern regions, with overnight lows there back to 11 to 15 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here along the banks of the Royal Canal at the moment. Dry and settled for now. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
It is time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: private school numbers hit record high. The number of students at fee-charging private schools has reached its highest level on record, with approximately 27,000 pupils enrolled. 50 private schools have received $112 million in state funding for 2023.
Backhurst won't deal with Noel Kelly as stars set for pay cut. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. RTE Director General said he would not be working directly with Ryan Tubridy's agent again and would be seeking pay cuts for the station's top earners.
Keeping with that story, RTE facing fight on levy bailout. That's the Daily Mail. RTE faces a cross-party political revolt if it attempts to land revenue with the job of collecting the TV licence fee.
The Herald goes with man dies in scooter crash horror. A 26-year-old refugee who fled to Ireland for safety a year ago has died in a collision involving 2 e-scooters and a car. The Examiner's front page: 2 died during swim leg of Ironman race. An accountant from Canada and a Meath native have lost their lives during the swim stage of the Ironman event in Cork yesterday. Yes, the Star, the Mirror and the Sun also lead with that same story. Very sad. And our condolences to the families, of course. Coming up, we'll be taking a closer look at many things that will be making the news. We'll talk to you very shortly.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you, Cliodhna Russell. Now, if you're along the banks of the Royal Canal here in Dublin this morning, 7:30 is where we're at, just past it. A quick look at weather, and it is a mainly dry and settled start, you'd be glad to hear, with a couple of hit-and-miss showers through northern Leinster up across the northeast as well, with those winds now beginning to pick up pace from the southwest. Now, right across this afternoon, make the most of the brightness, any morning sunshine you're getting, because it will slip as the day goes on. Cloud building through parts of Connacht, up across the northwest in particular, where we're going to see some heavy and persistent rain, a return to wet and windy conditions out there today, with those winds as well, strong and gusty for a time, especially for Atlantic northwestern coastal counties too. Top value 17 to 22 degrees, and into tonight, wet and windy to start, drier the further east-southeast we go, with those winds tapering back, easing off then as we edge our way into your Tuesday morning, with overnight lows no lower than 12 to 15 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now. We'll be back again live at 8.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
Now, welcome back. It's time to take a closer look at the news stories that are making today's agenda. Joining us now is business reporter with the Irish Examiner, Coach Caden. Good morning to you. Good morning. Listen, we're going to start off with a very sad story. It's at the front of a lot of papers this morning. This tragedy in the Ironman down in Cork yesterday. 2 people lost their lives.
Yeah, obviously in the Examiner, this was a huge story as well. Like, it's down in Cork, and you know, it's such a huge event, brings in so many tourists, so many visitors and participants. So it was a real shock to the community that this happened. There was some controversy yesterday about the event going ahead after the deaths, but at the same time, you know, this kind of event is known to be dangerous, and the participants, they know this going in. It pushes them to the limit. So, you know.
So an Irishman, Brendan Wall, got into difficulty while swimming. Like, they're meant to be 2 potential heart attacks. Is that what it looks like? Well, we don't know. In the water.
Yeah, we don't know definitively yet. But the Canadian man Ivan, who passed away, he is. It looks like he had a heart attack, and we don't really know what happened with Brendan. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll find more. It's just
desperately sad.
A horrific thing
on such a big event as well, and the fact that 2 deaths in one day is just, it is very frightening. OK, we're going to move on to something else that people are really going to be looking at over the next few weeks, and this is third-level accommodation. And guess what? It's worse than last year.
Yeah, I just get chills down my spine looking at this story come up every year, and the panic that I had when I was in first year of college, and it's nothing like it is now. Like, it's gotten so much worse. They are being priced out of the market. You know, these are people who have no money. No. You know, they're basically reliant on their parents or someone to give them the money for this accommodation, and it's looking now like that an ensuite in Dublin is priced at €200,000 for a student. I don't have 200,000.
So universities are now 30,000 bed shorts for students around the country.
Yeah, so
30,000 beds just aren't there.
Not there, and they need about double the stock that's currently there, at least, to meet this demand.
Okay. Are the government asked to try and help out on this? What can they do?
Yeah, well, I mean, something is going to have to be done. I mean, you're looking at things like we talked about before, like maybe construction VAT being reduced or something like that, just to boost construction in that area. But I mean, the construction sector has been lagging. It's been in contraction since post-COVID, basically. And, you know, we saw a lot of commercial property development, but apartments are still really volatile, and that's what students are looking for.
They were trying to bring that on board, and let more people know that as an incentive, homeowners can earn up to €14,000 a year in rental income tax-free if they take in someone like a student, essentially, if it's like a digs. I know a good few people that do this in Limerick because they're like, I've got the room, why not let this happen? And basically parents were ringing them from other counties going, is there anything you can do for me here? And it's working out for them so far. But there was one place that I was looking at, a place in Sligo. So they can offer places to 12 to 14 students. This is on Crazy House prices, if you want to take a look at this tweet. So 400 quid each. And it's just bunk beds on top of bunk beds on top. He's going to earn 5,600 a month, but they have to be out at 12 p.m. on a Friday, and they can come back in at 4 p.m. on a Sunday because it's Airbnb'd over the weekend.
Like, I'm sorry.
Because 5,600 a month, it's not enough. You're not allowed to leave your toothbrush there, but you've got to pay me.
You've got to pay
400 quid.
Like, that should be illegal. Like, I'm sorry.
But it's not.
You know, that should be absolutely illegal.
Anyway, there's somebody providing a bed for students if the government or nobody else is going to do it. Like, exactly. Listen, it's not on, but people, the demand is out there, and people will pay for it.
Where are they taking this money with them when they're gone? I'm just fascinated by this greed in this country. 0896 111 111. You can let us know what's going on with you and looking for your student to help them try to get accommodation somewhere.
Can we quickly move on to just this RT licence fee? It's front page of the Daily Mirror this morning. So how are they trying to get the money for the TV licence fee in?
So they're trying to introduce a levy now. Well, we don't know. That a levy has been proposed for households. So basically getting exchequer money enforced into your bills, basically. And but this has met massive backlash over the years. You know, it's something that's been brought up time and time again to kind of solve the impossible puzzle that is the licence fee and people not paying it. So, it's coming up. You know, politicians have elections on the brain now. They don't want to talk about this. They don't want to be the ones to solve RT's issues, but it is a statutory body, so there is responsibility there.
With their issue here, so a new media licence, and often in other countries there is a media licence now and it's collected in a different way. But they're saying, Harriet, can the revenue collect our TV licence? That's just for us, just for RTE, and the revenue are like, absolutely not. Ministers like, we're not doing that. You collect your own TV licence.
This is just something that's being proposed. Has met huge backlash, so we don't know what it's going to look like.
And Cash Martin said that keep hearing that it's the government's job to rescue them. They're wrong. It's RTE's job to rescue themselves, and that falls on Kevin Backhurst. Can we finally talk about this one? I love this. A restaurant in Laois is offering a bring your own plate discount. So you bring your own plate to a restaurant.
Yeah, it just sounds like something out of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like something, you know, it's like this is what's going to save us money.
Why? Why?
You know?
So they don't have to wash it. Do you have to wash it after?
It's to reduce the packaging fees, but I mean there's not a huge amount of packaging fees that goes into restaurants. I
think this is genius. This is Hare's Corner in Mount Mellick. So they're looking at ways to not pass on fees to its customers, and they do carveries. So they're like, rather than you coming, because they do lots of takeaway carveries, because, you know, Sunday morning people want their big roast. If you bring down your plate and a bit of cling film, lash it over, rather than transferring it into the soggy box, bring your plate down, and your carvery is going to cost you less. I think it's genius.
I think it's a good idea. Does it need to make headlines or newspapers?
It's August. It's August.
That is true.
It's August. Give us a break.
Okay. Well, listen, exactly as you say, for takeaways, absolutely. I was thinking of us sitting in the restaurant, had to bring my own plate.
They said
I mean, that's what it says. Restaurant, bring your own plate.
We're introducing a bring your own plate for takeaways only. Don't worry, we will wrap them. We haven't lost the plot altogether. I want to give a big shout out. Hare's Corner in Mount Mellick. I hate a carvery inside in a box. Great idea.
Coach Caden from the Irish Examiner. Thank you for that. This weird and wacky stories.
It's August.
Coming up, we are exploring options when it comes to savings accounts at home and also abroad.
Stay with us for some guidance on your finance. That's coming up next. You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, with rising interest rates, we are getting a lesson in how to put your money to work.
So joining us now to explain the best options for saving money is the European banks, yes? We can all go to Europe and get better money. Sarah McGinn, assistant news editor with the Business Post. Good morning to you.
Hi.
Is it right? So if we feel that we feel safe to do it, because I think there might be a bit of worry around that, putting it into European banks, we are going to get better interest rates.
Oh, you absolutely will. And it is so safe. I feel like kind of Irish people have this really internal, like very wary internal monologue when it comes to anything finance. Like, you know, we're all kind of a bit apprehensive about it. But really, there is no need to be. So there is this platform, Raisin, which is Berlin-based. It's somewhere in Germany, but it's Berlin-based. It is regulated by BaFin, which is like the German financial regulator, and it's like that's like kind of very steady. It's backed by financial heavyweights like Goldman Sachs, PayPal, Deutsche Bank, but it is also under the European Deposit Scheme. So it's basically the same as what we'd get in Ireland. You are regulated. So
your 100,000 is safe.
Yeah, so if the bank goes bankrupt, if Armageddon happens, you're getting your 100,000 euro back.
It's up to 100,000. Anything over that then is not secured.
Yeah, so anything over that, you wouldn't really be looking. But say, like, if you're saving for a deposit for a house, if you kind of know that you can part with a couple of, well, not a couple of grand, maybe like 20,000 grand for 5 years, that's the place really to be putting it.
Because the thing is, listen, at the minute, interest rates are going up. Banks are making extortionate amounts of money. AIB, I just read this morning, have over 100 billion on deposit, with 64 billion of that in current accounts. So they're charging huge fees for having that money in current accounts. Totally. And know that people aren't going to move it. And do you really think, though, that people would move their money, even though the interest rate's so bad, to go to a raisin.com? Like, is it safe enough for people to do that?
It is.
Even the name of it, or even, is there another one, Trade Republic?
So I'm going to put my money in Raisin.
I know.
So it's actually, it's raisin.ie, so it's an Irish domain. So, like, I don't know, that's something
so
small.
It's more dodgy. Like, it's an Irish domain, but it's a European rate.
No, but they're in Ireland, you know, like they have an Irish email, they have an Irish phone number. So, like, you know, there's people here at very least that you can kind of ring up. And when, like, Tommy, when have you dropped into your local branch? When is the last time you dropped into your local bank branch?
I do go in all the time because I like to see a person when I'm dealing with.
I don't think I've been into my local bank
Can you tell me what the difference of the rates? Like, what can people get here in Ireland and compare that to what you could get in Europe?
So the best you're getting in Ireland for 1 year, so if you're happy to lock your money away for 1 year, you're getting 2%. That's 1.75 in permanent TSB, but the best is 2% with Bank of Ireland and AIB Super Saver products.
But your inflation's at, what, 5.5%?
Yeah, so you're actually kind of losing money. You're losing money by keeping it there, whereas Raisin they have a whole host of kind of deposit products, but the best one is 1 year with this bank called Blue Or Bank. It's a Latvian bank. Stay with me. Stay with me. It's 4.02%.
Okay.
So in monetary terms, say you're saving for a deposit of a house.
Yes.
You have 25 grand and you're saying, right, by the end of the year, I want to get to 15 grand. Now, obviously, you're not going to get that 15 grand. But if you lock it away in Blue Or Bank, which has an A+ rating on this thing called the Standards & Poor's rating, that doesn't matter. It basically just means that the country has a very good credit rating. So if you lock it away there, you will get a €1,005 return. Whereas if you lock that away in Bank of Ireland or AIB, you get €500. If you lock that away in permanent TSB, you get €470. So you're talking about €470 versus €1,005.
Okay.
But the banks are under pressure at the moment because the government are coming in and people are saying they're going to have to do something. So do you think that the rates will go up for depositors?
I don't think so. Like, they might, but like 0.25, which is kind of nothing in the grand scheme of things when like banks on Raisin are already 2% ahead. And like I first found out about Raisin in June. The highest rate then was 3.5%. So in the time that Irish banks have gone up 0.25%, a bank on Raisin has gone up 0.5%. So as ECB rates are climbing, they might increase here. Like, as ECB are paying more for their deposit. But like, European banks are also going to keep increasing because they know there's a gap here.
Am I not right in saying, though, that the banks in Ireland are saving that money for people mortgages, so they can give a better rate on mortgages?
what the banks are doing is the bank's business. I'm not too sure.
They're claiming that they're not passing on the full ECB rate hikes. And that's what they're saying, and that's why the depositors are not getting it. But is there any tax implications by doing this and putting your money in Europe?
So you do have to pay DIRT tax, so deposit interest retention tax. You have to, so that's about 33%. So it's up to you to declare that. But most people will have to fill in a tax return anyway. So it's just kind of adding on to that. And to be fair, in some countries, there is a withholding tax for non-EU citizens. So that Blue Or Bank, because I opened an account last night, has a 10% withholding tax. But some of that is tax deductible. So, really...
Are you still better off, even with all the tax deductions?
Yeah, you're still way better off.
OK, so raisin.com, raisin.ie.
.ie.
Are there any other options?
So basically, with Raisin, you're kind of looking at locking away your money for 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. But there's this one called Trade Republic, which is also Berlin-based. It came onto the market in late 2022. And so it's for investing and cryptocurrencies and all things kind of mildly terrifying. But if you put your money in it, it will earn 2%. It will earn 2% in interest the longer you keep it there, and you have access to it all the time. So you don't it's on a monthly basis that interest is paid out.
And you can withdraw.
Listen, you've sold it. Listen, let us know what you think. Do you have money in your current account at home? Are you saving up, and would you be happy to put it into a Latvian bank potentially to back these?
Tommy's fortune has been moved
with a better return. 0896 111 111. Sarah McGuinness, assistant news editor at the Business Post. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
with
Sarah.
that, still to come tomorrow, we're going to chat to the creators of a viral podcast who turned a real-life party pooper at their wedding into a true crime tale.
Plus, Ali Ryan is spilling the latest showbiz gossip. We'll see in a few minutes.
Hello, welcome back to Ireland AM. We've got plenty coming up this hour, from tasty treats to wedding woes.
Speaking of, we're going to be joined by the podcasters investigating the unusual crime that, soiled their marital bliss. That's what it's all about, and it turned into a runaway hit.
We'll tell you about it in just a while. It is a delight.
Who Done It podcast.
Who Done It, and why I'm not getting married. Rugby commentator Brent Pope tells us why he's painting elephants to tackle people's mental health.
And former newscaster Eileen Dunne is joining us at 9:20 to look back on her incredible career.
Indeed. And what else is coming up, Alan?
What's the podcast called, Tommy?
Who pooped on the floor at my wedding?
Pooped, yeah.
There you go. And it's literally 16 episodes about that. But, I mean, it's millions of listens.
It's so
massive.
funny. It is so funny. It's so funny.
Is it every episode trying to find out who did it?
Yes. You know the way I'm obsessed with true crime?
Yes.
This is the funniest true crime thing I have ever.
I wonder, was it her? Because where was she at the time?
And people are taking him for questioning and underwear sent into the...
Where did they find the poo?
It's like a game of Cluedo.
On the floor at their wedding.
Not in a bathroom?
In a bathroom.
Oh, in a bathroom.
With the candlestick.
And we go from that to cooking, as you do on a Monday morning. See these little bits of poo here? No.
We are making...
Susie Lee is here. We're going to make some cookies.
Some almond and peanut cookies, which are very traditional during Chinese New Year. And in my cookbook, really, really delicious and quick.
OK, and nice and quick to do.
Mm-hmm.
OK, looking forward to that. That's coming up a little later on.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Yes, thank you very much, Cliodhna. We're live here just along the beautiful banks of the Royal Canal here in Dublin this morning, getting past 8 o'clock here together. You can see just over my shoulder some really beautiful sunshine here into eastern areas. That mixture of bright spells and cloud cover now to edge our way into your Monday morning, with showers there through parts of Antrim, County Down, North County Louth, parts of Cavan, and County Monaghan not escaping either, with those southwesterly winds now already beginning to freshen. Now, right across this afternoon, sunshine unfortunately will slide, and it looks like a return to rain to parts of Connacht up around the northwest. Heavy and persistent at times as we edge our way into mid-afternoon. And you will notice those winds in those regions too will be strong and gusty for a time. So do be mindful, especially if you're living in coastal regions. Top temps of 17 to 22. Into tonight then, it will be wet and windy to start as the night goes on, though those winds abating, easing back. So an improving picture. You'll be glad to hear as we edge our way into the 22nd of the month with overnight lows no lower than 12 to 15 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here at the moment. We'll be back again live 8:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: private school numbers hit record high. The number of students at fee-charging private schools has reached its highest level on record, with approximately 27,000 pupils enrolled. 50 private schools have received $112 million in state funding for 2023.
Backhurst won't deal with Noel Kelly as Stars set for pay cut. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. RTE Director General said he would not be working directly with Ryan Tubridy's agent again, and would be seeking pay cuts for the station's top earners.
RTE facing fight on levy bailout is the top story on the Daily Mail. RTE faces a cross-party political revolt if it attempts to land revenue with the job of collecting the TV licence fee.
The Herald goes with man dies in scooter crash horror. A 26-year-old refugee who fled to Ireland for safety a year ago has died in a collision involving two e-scooters and a car.
The Examiner leads with 2 died during swim leg of Ironman race. An accountant from Canada and a Meath native have lost their lives during the swim stage of the Ironman event in Cork yesterday.
The Star, the Mirror and the Sun all lead with that same story. And of course, we send our condolences to anybody involved in that as well.
Now, earlier on, we were talking about student accommodation. It's that time of year when everything's going on. There were 30,000 rooms needed to fulfill the number of students.
30,000 in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
My God.
30,000.
So,
Adrian says the student accommodation in this country is outrageous. It's costing us a second mortgage to make sure our child gets an education.
Yeah, no, it is. It's so difficult. So, like, listen, if you live in Dublin or close to Dublin, you might have to have the kids living close to you. But if you are in, the west of Ireland and you want to come and study in Dublin, it's impossible. My son's going into a second-year college, can't find anywhere to live. Looks like he will have to go and out and go in and out from home on the train. He's scared it will ruin his college experience. Well, I mean, it will.
Yeah.
You think of whenever you did go to college, the crack that you had and going to the student bar and everything else. I mean, that was what
we've had these arguments last year. Text going, well, for God's sake, they've got long enough to work. Like, you're playing the tax man long enough. Can they not just have a bit of crack in college?
And you can't get a job nowadays without a flipping master's.
What was that? What was that accommodation? Was it Sligo, Mirren?
There's Sligo. It's on the crazy house prices right now. So there are, I think, 16 bunk beds, 400 quid, 5,600 made a month by this person, but you have to be out by 12 o'clock on Friday. You can check back in at 4 o'clock on Sunday because it's also going to be Airbnb. So you can't leave your toothbrush there.
He wants to rent it out on the Friday and Saturday to Airbnb. I'm sure, like, if you'd have said to those people who are going to be there, look, if you all chip in maybe and do...
Yeah, but you can't take it. 400 quid is a lot anyway.
I know, yeah.
Like, what are all these people doing with all their money? Anyway.
As Adam says, what did you say earlier on? The greed, but you can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you.
And then Adam says, Mirren's dead right, as Big Tom said. You can't take it with you when you go. There you go. How did we get Big Tom into a conversation about the housing crisis?
We should.
Can't take it with you. We were also talking about RTE, and it's front of the Daily Mail this morning. RTE facing fight on levy bailout, where basically the governments have said it's not our issue that with RTE we don't have to bail them out. It is up to RTE to sort themselves out. So Leo said the constant talk about the licence fee is driving me insane. I'm happy with the licence fee as it is, and I'm not sure what difference it will make overall to the pay scandal.
Michael says, I don't think the government should be responsible for collecting the licence fee. It's a legal obligation as it is, and I just don't feel that it's necessary.
Yeah, and Dervla says when RTB provides content as good as the streaming platforms, then we might do something about it.
I think Dervla mentioned Netflix there, didn't she? As good as Netflix.
Well, yeah.
We're doing well to try and rival that, to be fair.
Netflix is terrible. Everything is from the BBC.
But the choices that are on it, though.
Yeah,
for how much it costs. If you're talking, here we go, 42 cents a day for tea, and you're talking about 15 quid for a streaming service, that everything is from the BBC, everything you can get for free on all four. Does anyone use all four? It's the best streaming service and it's for free.
Can you get it here?
Yes.
Keep your texts coming in. We'd love to hear from you. 0896 111 111.
And coming up after the break, we hear from the creators of the award-winning, chart-topping crime podcast.
Yeah, involving 2 brides and a poo. There you have it. See you shortly. Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now, if there are little ears in the room, I'm sure they won't be offended, but they might. So you might want to ask them to leave with the name of this podcast.
Yes, they mightn't appreciate the name of this podcast because they could be saying it over and over again. Are we safe? Are our little headphones in? Are you okay? This is the name of the podcast, okay? Who Shat on the Floor of My Wedding? It is a poo-done-it podcast about a wedding's dirty secret that became a word-of-mouth smash hit with 1.5 million listeners in the last month alone, bearing in mind it was first released in 2020.
Wow, and it's a true crime podcast. Maureen loves it. Does exactly what it says on the tin, but here's a little taster of what it's all about.
What happened was we had this amazing wedding. Best day of my life, naturally, married the woman of my dreams.
It was such a perfect day. We had champagne reception under fluffy white clouds and jazz music playing and our favourite people. One of our guests actually defecated on the floor, missing the toilet bowl by quite a distance. We quite naturally just have to know who was audacious enough to commit this most heinous crime. So we thought the best thing to do would be to join forces with our good friend Lauren Kilby to conduct a thorough investigation and get some answers.
Well, there you have it. We are joined by the newlyweds and podcast co-hosts Helen McLaughlin and Karen Whitehouse, as well as their lead detective, Lauren Kilby, is here to tell us more about their story. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining us. I suppose, girls, Karen, tell us, who, it meant to be the happiest day of your life, your wedding day. Who discovered the poo?
Unfortunately, it was me. And I'd say, you can't really compute when you're having a wonderful day and everything's going so perfectly, marrying the woman of your dreams. And then, after the speeches and sit-down dinner, you walk into the bathroom, your flowy, gorgeous dress, and then there's just this lovely specimen right in the middle of the floor in front of the basins. My immediate thought was someone did this on purpose, just given the distance from the toilet bowl. So we had to take matters in our own hands and make a podcast about it.
Can you imagine thinking that someone that you had invited to the happiest day of your life, that's what they thought of you, to do that on your floor? But the thing is, Helen, is that you got married in 2018 and then the podcast came out in 2020. So did it take time for the idea to ferment, to be like, this is it, podcast?
Ferment, like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, we would talk about it often with friends, and everybody's busy trying to solve the crime and decide who done it. And one evening, I was sort of sat there and I was telling a new group of people about the poo on the floor, and we then talked about it for about 4 hours, and everybody had their own stories and their own theories. I was like, there's something here. And Karen was looking for a project, something creative to do. And so, we just married the two ideas and away she went with the podcast.
So it's topped the charts. It's, as we said, 1.5 million downloads, I think, in the last month, whatever else. I mean, for a podcast about a poo at a wedding, were you surprised that it's had this level of success and the amount of people who must be messaging about it?
Completely. I mean, but I do think that, bizarrely, since we've done it, our direct message box on Instagram has just been flooded with other stories of people have had exactly the same thing happen to them. So it's clearly quite a universal, sadly, it's a universal matter. So people obviously relate to it and, they feel our pain.
I think I'm going to be upset now if someone doesn't do it at my wedding, to be honest. Tommy, it's up to you.
If you need it done, Warren.
Can we bring in the person to rival DCI Jane Tennis and Sherlock Holmes? She's up there with the best of them. It is Detective Lauren Kilby. Lauren, huge good morning to you. Now, how did you get involved with this case and what are your credentials for finding poos?
Yes, good question. My credentials, I don't have any credentials, essentially. And I think Karen and Helen, they knew they needed a detective to solve the case. And then I think they realised that detectives cost quite a lot of money, real detectives. So they just called me up and said, do you want to be involved in this? We think you definitely have the capacity to do it because you're currently unemployed because it's COVID. So you've got time on your hands. Are you willing to do this for free? Because, of course, they weren't going to pay me. So I took it on as an initial pro bono project. And yeah, I just found out that actually I was born to be an unqualified detective.
Yeah.
It sounds like it. I mean, you have what I thought, I'm sure, was a bit of a joke at the start. You've taken things to the next level, Lauren. I mean, you've interviewed the bridesmaids, asked for underwear samples, brought in forensic detectives. I mean, what was the reaction like of, say, the bridesmaids when you asked them to take a lie detector test to see if they pooed on the floor?
I think everyone was pretty happy with the lie detector test. People were less willing to submit the underwear they wore to the wedding for inspection. And to be honest, I'm not really regretting that none of them did that now, because I don't know what I would do with 150 pairs of underwear sealed in individual plastic bags in my house. So I'm kind of happy that didn't happen. But yeah, most of them were pretty good sports about it all. I think a couple of people were slightly offended at times, but they couldn't really show that they were offended because then that would make them immediately suspicious. So they had to pretend like they were okay with everything.
I would say, Lauren, that if you had 150 pieces of underwear tied and sealed back, there's a market for that on the internet. You could have made yourself a little bit of money on the side, my friend. But when you legitimately, as I was watching, and you've gotten real forensic psychologists and people like that involved, and you're asking, why are you doing this? And they're like, it's probably a career killer. I've no idea why I'm talking to you either. Like, what were they going, am I actually involved with this? What am I doing?
I think everyone who was involved in the podcast was thinking at some point, like, what the hell have I got myself into? Including us, including definitely me. But Karen's just got this very strange skill where she can kind of get anyone on board to do anything. And I think there was something quite nice about when you're working on a quadruple homicide, which Professor Mike Berry was at the time, to suddenly get an email about investigating basically the opposite of a quadruple homicide, a poo on the floor at a wedding. There's something that's a little bit kind of slightly, it's a juxtaposition really, isn't it? So he'd probably spend 80% of his day on the homicide and then he'd move on to the poo on the floor.
Karen, do we find out who did the... Like, I mean, I got married a number of years ago. There's a lot of stories that went on that day as well. That's kind of the beauty of weddings. Now, nobody did poo on the floor. I mean, will you out the person if you found out who did it?
We actually had a morality meeting at the beginning of making this podcast, and we were like, can we ruin someone's life, you know, to reveal who did it? And we were like, absolutely, we can.
Wow.
We have no with that, but we do hide the identity a little bit to protect them a little bit. So we've got someone called the Entertainer just to keep it a little bit more anonymous. But you know, we point the finger in certain directions just to, you know, because there's just some very suspicious things that happen. So we actually had too many suspects. Really, that was the problem. Too many dodgy people.
What goes on at a wedding stays at a wedding. That's not the case in this one.
No, it's definitely worth doing this. But Helen, we have to talk about this because there's a Series 2 and Series 1 has been optioned for a TV show.
That's right. They're developing right now the TV show. I think it's on pause at the moment because of the strike in Hollywood, but that will hopefully be gaining traction over the course of the next year or so. And season 2, which is a non-fecal crime, non-crime. That is currently in editing, and that'll be released early next year. So we're really excited about what's in the pipeline.
Wow.
Fantastic. Lauren, I'm assuming you have found your niche now. This is it. You're done. You are the world's greatest detective and you're going to continue on doing this.
Correct. Yeah. Nothing else to say to that. World's greatest detective, ready to take on non-crimes. Anything that the police would laugh at or say absolutely not, do not call us again, then that is a job for me.
Murder, She Wrote, eat your heart out.
I swear to God.
Listen, Karen Whitehouse and Helen McLaughlin, and of course, Chief Detective Officer Lauren Kilby. Thank you all for joining us today. If people want to listen to the podcast, it is, of course, called Who Shat on the Floor at My Wedding, available on all podcast platforms. Thank you, girls. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I want to isolate that, you just saying that, and just have that all the time. Still to come this hour, off the back of Ireland's clash against England this weekend, Brent Pope shares his predictions ahead of the Rugby World Cup.
Plus, speaking of rugby, we have a scrum-diddly-umptious cookies in the kitchen. That's all coming up after this short break.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
You're very welcome back. Now we're taking the edge off the Monday morning mayhem with a sweet treat.
Just what we need. Susie Lee is here with some almond and peanut cookies. Good morning to you, Susie.
Morning.
Listen, you've been here all morning. Fair play to you.
Yeah.
You've only made this amount.
I know, and that's it. No, I've got double the amount, so it's all good. So
what have we got? How do we start off with these?
Is that all butter?
Yes, we grated the butter, but it's so warm in here, I had to do it pre, otherwise it'd get all very sticky.
You grate it?
Yeah, fridge cold, because then it makes it easier to mix everything. So you're wanting a really crumbly cookie. So this is like how you'd make scones. So you're making like breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just combining.
If Catherine Layden was doing that now, she'd be just getting in there. She's saying room temperature.
I know.
I've never
Save yourselves the trouble.
Yeah,
so you just grate it straight in, and then you don't have to be sitting for hours
ages
trying to blend it all. So you're just breaking that all in.
So is this something you would cook a lot at home?
I make these quite a lot, yeah.
Really,
and it's quite a traditional Chinese cookie you would make during Chinese New Year, and it's just with the almonds and the nuts, and because they were deemed expensive back in the day.
Oh, really?
So it was one of those things. It was a treat. Sugar was a treat
occasion
for the special
Chinese New Year.
Yeah, absolutely. So then there's some sugar.
That's some sugar.
Well, it's only
bag of sugar.
It's a treat.
It's a treat.
All cookies are the same. Sure.
Absolutely. And then, so that was butter, some plain flour,
Yeah.
some sugar, and this is ground almonds.
Oh, right. Okay.
So just,
there's a lot of that.
yeah,
Okay.
so powdered almonds, some people might say as well. So
And you can buy that just in a bag of, like a bag of ground almonds in the supermarket.
Exactly.
Very
So you just
good.
combine that all together. So you've got kind of breadcrumbs, and if there's any bigger lumps, then you can obviously go in and mix it together. Another kind of, for those to be all kind of like cracked and puffed up,
Can I
then
have
you,
one? Can I try
yeah,
one?
of course
Oh,
you can.
let's have a look.
Then you use a little bit of bicarbonate soda or baking soda.
Okay.
Just that's what makes it kind of rise and then puff up a bit. And then we're going to
And
add
if you
in.
didn't put that in, Susie, would they not come up as much?
No, they'll be flatter and they'll not have that kind of cracked, puffed look. So they'll taste exactly the same, but it just gives it that kind of like,
It's real peanutty.
Yeah.
Oh, there's lots of nuts going
So
in.
so there's those going in. So to combine it all together,
myself.
it's okay. We are going to add in some egg and then some almond extract to give it that extra kind of kick of kind of nuttiness. And then we will then add in some
Do you like
chopped.
marzipan?
Oh.
'Cause it's quite almondy, isn't it?
Oh well, well. Tommy.
You're loving it.
It's lovely,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
So I'm going to chop
I
up
would have thought
some.
it's more peanutty than almondy, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're going to add in some chopped up peanuts.
Okay,
And
so
then-
you're not putting peanut butter or anything in?
No,
that's
what
where
it
all
is.
The flavour is from?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what you're tasting. So you can have them really finely chopped up or roughly, where then you get good
And
kind of chunks.
do you like it when you get a nice big crunch of it?
I do. But some people mightn't, so you could blitz this so you can have it as a powder as well.
Do you prefer it rough there, Al?
I like a bit of rough, do you not?
keep crunching there, Susie, for me. Nice and smooth. Thanks very much.
And so you just mix that all in. And we're going to add in some almond extract, if I can ever open it. And then the egg. And then we're going to combine it all together.
There you go, easy as that.
Yeah, easy as that. And once it's all combined together, my kind of top tip to make even shapes is using an ice cream scoop.
Oh, okay.
Because you know the way you try to be as even as you can, and then you've got some cookies or biscuits this size and some this size. This kind of evens it all out.
Now, is that egg enough there? Like, do you have to spend a while now
No, so this is the bit where you can get your hands dirty, and then you'll see...
straight in.
Straight in, and you'll see that it'll combine.
Do you see the way normally with cookies, Susie, as well, is you put them in a ball and then they kind of flatten out, where these have stayed quite roundy.
Yeah, so that is...
bicarbonate of soda.
There's that, but also sometimes they add too much egg. There's a lot of egg in it, so therefore it'll spread.
Okay.
And then that is why it spreads.
So what, do you put less egg in this one, or you put more egg in this one? Okay, right, very good.
Yeah, some cookie recipes have like 2 eggs in it. So as you can see, it just comes together like that, and you don't want it to be really, really sticky, just enough that it comes together.
So the only liquid you put in there is just that little bit of...
1 egg.
1 egg, it's only one egg.
Yeah,
and a little bit of almond flavouring.
Yeah, and that's it. So as easy as that. Once it's combined like that, you use your wee scoop. You've got a good even amount like that.
And do you put the walnut, are they walnuts?
They're almonds.
Almond nuts, sorry. Are they going in now before you put them into the...
Yeah,
oh, they
so we're
do.
just going to do this. So we'll do 6 to pop in, and then we'll have some TV magic.
Yeah, here's one I made earlier.
Exactly. So like that. Then you just plonk on.
Oh, you stick it in. Okay.
Yep, like that. In. And then...
Do you glaze them with a bit of egg as well?
So, you know, with just travelling, sometimes you forget bits of equipment. So if you just have some kitchen paper...
It doesn't have to be done too quickly, does it?
Nope, not at all. Then you just dab it on, and it's glazed.
And then how long do you put them into the oven for?
So about 12 minutes, just till they're golden brown. Pop them in at 180. Whoop.
Oh.
And then...
We'll use that tea towel,
We have our
perfectly brown.
Pre-baked, lovely, golden brown cookies.
They're delicious.
And super
nice
lovely.
Nibble size as well.
Absolutely.
You can eat like 6.
They're lovely and hot.
Lovely and hot, Jed. You want a hot one there, Tommy?
Susie Lee, as always, that's delicious.
They're delicious.
Some almond and peanut bites. Is that,
Cookies.
Bites, whatever. There you go. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Up next, rugby pundit Brent Pope is here, and he's going to stop by for a chat, all things rugby.
Yeah, we'll see her back in a few minutes.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Welcome back. Now our next guest conquered the rugby world as a player and a pundit who's used his platform encouraging men to talk about their mental health issues.
He sure did. Here to tell us about his latest initiative to continue those conversations, of course, it is Brent Pope. Good morning to you,
I hardly
Brent.
conquered the rugby world. Tommy conquered the rugby world. I didn't.
When you've got someone writing a script who doesn't know anything about rugby, take the conquering, Brent.
Okay, I'll take the conquering.
Take the conquering.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to have you with us as well.
Thank you
with your friends. Tell us a little bit more about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, basically, you know, I've had my own difficulties in my life, and growing up from a rural background and playing a sport like rugby, I had difficulty coming forward and talking about my problems around depression and anxiety back in the day. And there was no hope for me then, Tommy. All doors were closed to me because I was seen as being weak. I was seen, I carried the shame and the guilt of having mental health difficulties that I couldn't fix myself without professional help. But you couldn't get help in those days. So for years, I've been about the advocacy about reaching out and talking to somebody when you're, you know, in a dark place or in a difficult place or whatever, that, you know, a problem often shared is a problem halved in my world. So I started to think about how could I have an awareness campaign that really sent the message out to people to reach out for help. And I thought about, I have a love of art And I thought about when we talk about the elephant in the room, it's about talking about something that is difficult to us when we're vulnerable. Everybody says, oh, don't talk about the elephant in the room. Yeah. And for a lot of it, that's around mental health issues. And I'm not just talking about anxiety, depression. It might be, you know, I suppose body dysmorphia. It might be racism. It might be bullying. It might be anything that affects your mental health. So my message out there is to people is to talk to someone, get the elephant in the room out there, and to make it more normalised. I mean, I'm often being seen as being used words as brave and that coming up to it. No, it shouldn't be about brave or courageous. It should be just about let's make this more part of normal conversation. So I came up with the art of fundraising around the elephant in the room concept and had 24 of these wonderful elephants done. They're all available for view in the CHQ. We'll be having a big opening night in a couple of weeks, but it's to try to encourage
money for Samaritans.
Raising money for the Samaritans, more important than that, raising awareness. So I want to see these elephants in all businesses and sporting organisations, hospitals, where somebody comes up to them and just sees that they've hope that somebody is caring about their mental health. And that's what's happening.
So it's a talisman. So here we can see that this is one that Charlie Bird.
Charlie and Tiger, and signed by the President.
And signed by the President in this one, and it was done by the artist Niall O'Loughlin. There's one right there. Obviously, you got the rugby boys involved.
Fantastic. Yeah.
That's there. So you're hoping that corporations...
artwork is amazing.
Artwork is amazing. Like, some of them. Some of the other ones are works of art.
Yeah.
Because, what I'm hoping is that somebody goes into a foyer, into a business room that may be suffering in silence, sees an elephant there and says, great, somebody cares about me. Somebody cares about my mental health. It's all about physical health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So they're coming up for auction on the 31st. They said they're going to be on display in the CHQ. That is
and then they'll be online to auction over a period of time with all the proceeds for this year going to the Samaritans to do a fantastic job.
And people can see them elephantintheroom.ie.
Go on, visit and make a bid.
A donation for the Samaritans.
Absolutely do, because they are the artwork on them. Like, it's very rarely you see a picture of Johnny Sexton looking so well with a smile on his face. But some of the pictures and the artwork on them are absolutely stunning.
Lovely.
So I think it's an absolutely good
and it's a great idea,
and
because I want bumper stickers, I want T-shirts, I want this to be a movement.
Yeah, no, it is. It's
elephant in the room
it's
movement.
Absolutely fantastic. And as well, listen, if you were to buy the Irish Rugby one, there potentially could be a bit of history coming around the corner with the Rugby World Cup coming up too, so it could be worth a lot of money.
This could be the World Cup winning elephant, Irish elephant.
Are you going to be going? They might need that elephant. Are you going to be going over?
Yes, I want to be a part. I've been a part of every World Cup since 1987. First as a player, and then as a pundit. I haven't missed any doing something.
Really?
So I'm going to go over. Yeah, I'm going to go over for the first two. I can only afford to go over for the first two matches, but. I'd like to go. Bordeaux's a great
Romania
and Bordeaux. Well, Johnny will be playing the first Romanian game. He'll have to, so that'll be exciting.
After the weekend, it's very hard for Andy Farrell, which is a great thing to say, to pick his 33 players, with Keith Earls going over for that fabulous try.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful?
Will Earlsy be going? Because, again, he does seem like Mac Hansen. We saw the KE shaved into the side of his head.
You know, Tommy...
It's kind of Earlsy Stockdale, really,
yes, well, that's a hard one for you to come from, but for most being an Ulster man, but... I think having Keith Earls around the camp, you know, I think some of these players, even though he's getting on in age, I know people are talking about he's lost a bit of his pace. He didn't seem to last week.
Nope.
But I just think having a guy like that just around the other younger players, and you need somebody like that in the camp for a World Cup. But it's going to be a difficult campaign. I don't think people realise that, you know, the main worry for me is that can Ireland sustain through those few games to get to the quarter-final without injuries? Yeah. That's going to be key.
Yeah. You know. Well, and that's the difficult. I think people listen. We're number one in the world. Yeah. We beat England convincingly at the weekend. I think it's a very weak England team.
Very weak.
I do think that the pool that Ireland have is extremely difficult, and to have to probably play South Africa. Then Scotland, which is two must-wins, really.
Must win.
And then if they do that, to go into a
quarter-final
I don't think people realise
that, Tom.
France or New Zealand.
Exactly.
Like, it is a difficult
other teams, like even New Zealand, talk to the New Zealand media and that out there, they've got a bit of a break. So their first match is against France. They play their top team, and whatever happens, win or lose, they're still going to be assured of qualification. So they can play second teams and build up their training. Ireland, you're right. They play those first. Now, the Tonga match is not going to be easy. No. And they'll knock the wind out of you.
Would you play Johnny Sexton in that match?
Well, you're going to have to probably, or some of the time, but you want to also keep them wrapped up more, because you know yourself playing the Ireland teams, man, they come at you, you know, and they'll be wanting to prove something as well.
And there was a time when you became a massive conspiracy theorist in the US for just commenting on Martin John. Like you're up there. You know, the aliens are walking amongst us. What happened?
Well, it became huge. I think I was voted in the New York Times. I think it was Brent Pope from RT or something in Ireland. Conspiracy theory. I thought at the time, it was just a throwaway comment at the time in when did England win the World Cup? 2003.
97, was it?
2003.
One of them.
2003. But anyway, they cut screen on the TV. It looked like Martin Johnson. To me, it looked like, for some reason, they didn't show the other players around, but he was talking into a water bottle. And then they cut to Clive Woodward, who was up in the stands, and he seemed to be on a mic. And so I came up with this, joke of an idea that what's he talking to the water bottle? Of course, the Australians got behind it and said, England's cheating and all that. I didn't say that at all. I just said it was strange.
Yeah, all those funny moments all came around the water bottles. Of course, you had you with the George Hook and the Powerade with
that was when Brian when he had his blonde hair days. I remember he came out after a match or something at the World Cup or something. He had 2 bottles of water going.
Oh, it was Powerade. Yeah, of course, he was on the sponsor, and you had it wrapped in. Like, did you ever worry though that yourself and George and Tom, you were a great team together, but you didn't hold back? Certainly George didn't, no. And people like myself, young guys coming through. Like, did you think? Did you
ever think about them?
That's just because George said you were too slow one year.
Well, he did. When you're 20 years of age and only burst onto the scene, and somebody like George Hook tells you you're too slow, it has an impact on your mental health, which is what we're here to discuss. Do you think, should pundits be as harsh as maybe you were back in the day?
No, I don't think so, because I always tried to take the fair approach, and I never got any rebuttals from players, and I tell you why, because I'd always say to them, well, look, did you think you had a good game? And, if you were a decent player, you knew when you had a good game and you knew when you didn't. You knew you'd missed tackles and you knew you'd maybe given away a stupid penalty or something. You knew it yourself.
But that's why everyone loves Raj and they love Roy Keane, because they say it as it is. And sometimes it's a bit too friendly.
But you've also got to be, as Thomas said, you've also got to be wary that, that no player goes out there to deliberately play badly. No. So you've also got to sort of balance it. Constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are always a good man for constructive criticism as well. Listen, it was just your partner crying beside you.
Should have heard him 10 minutes ago, Brent.
He's threatening to make a comeback.
Listen, elephantintheroom.ie. If you do want to get involved, they are going on auction on August the 31st, and they're all for a very worthwhile
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Brent, great to have you.
Thanks.
Hopefully we'll see you over in France as well. Lots still to come in the final hour of Ireland AM. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, coming up, we have got a newsreader extraordinaire and a fashion trend that will make people stop and stare, Tommy.
Coming up, broadcaster Eileen Dunne talks 4 decades on air and retirement life.
Here to bring us the latest news from the world of entertainment, it is Goss.ie's Ali Ryan. Hello, Ali. What's on the agenda today?
I'm here to spill the tea. Well, the coffee, because I need to wake up. So I'm going to go deep into Britney Spears and Sam Ashgari. They're getting divorced. So we want to go deep into that, what's going on, what her divorce party was. Did they sign a prenup? And I know we're over Love Island, but I do have a Love Island story for you as well today.
Go on, keep it going. Why
Love
not?
it. Look forward to that. Yes. Thank you very much, Ali. We'll catch up with you a little bit later on. Now, Alan has given us a hump this morning. What have we got, Al?
Well, Muireann's totally on trend this morning, Muireann, because it's all about camel. Yes, okay. It's all about the camel trend. We see it every year coming back.
Yes, we do, and it's definitely a great trend for at the moment, because it's going to transition you into autumn, winter. We have cosy cardigans, we've boyfriend blazers, and the Mac is back, and we're going to be taking a look at that.
And certainly you're on brief as well this morning. Look at it all.
Cameled out.
I shall run off and try and find a camel jacket or something very quickly.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you very much, Cliodhna. We're live here along the banks of the Royal Canal in Dublin this morning. We're getting past 9 o'clock here together. Let's take a look weather-wise at how it's shaping up, and a gorgeous start here into eastern areas. A lot of you waking up to some really, really nice sunshine now as we kickstart the 21st day of the month. Still a couple of hit-and-miss showers trailing across northern Leinster through parts of Louth, up around southern Ulster to the northeast as well. Cavan and Monaghan still in the firing line out there this morning now in those freshly southwesterly winds. Now, right across into this afternoon, make the most of that brightness because it will slip, and we're going to see that cloud cover build through Connacht up across the northwest. We will then see plenty of rain, persistent at times, so plenty of bad weather on the way, especially across the western half of the country, and those winds will be strong and gusty for at times, so be mindful if you're living near coastal regions as well. Top values of 17 to 22 into tonight. Wet and windy across the western half of the island, drier the further east and southeast we go. Winds abating, easing back though as we progress our way into your Tuesday morning, so a brighter picture as we edge our way into the 22nd of the month, with overnight lows no lower than 12 to 15 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up for now. We'll be back again live 9:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
Hello, you are very welcome back. Now, earlier on in the show, we were talking about many things, one being a podcast, which was called...
Well, come on,
say it. On the floor at my wedding.
Yeah, who pooed on the floor in my wedding? So we've got a lot of wedding stories coming in, and they are pretty good.
Yeah, Marie says, the podcast reminds me of my wedding when at about 4 a.m, my brand new brother-in-law thought it would be a lovely idea to get sick all over my dress. Oh. Safe to say he didn't show up for day 2 festivities.
The fear the next
you're just going, oh my God, I did it.
This is the thing with the girls. Like, they have millions of listeners, and whoever did do that poo on the floor is going to be outed. I mean, they're not going to be able to, like,
but they
raise
know
their head again.
But they know who did it, right? But they've said that they're not outing them entirely. That's what it is.
This is a podcast about this couple who got married, and somebody had a
pooed in the toilet.
In the toilet.
On the floor, sorry.
On the floor. But they're saying, so that person did it deliberate because there's no way it could have been an accident because it was so far away from the bowl.
No, some episodes you're like, oh, it was an accident. Oh, it wasn't. Oh, it was an accident.
So this is the whole thing. It's like a murder mystery.
If you want to watch back, you'll be able to watch it back. It happened at 8:15. You can get it on +1. Be on just a second. No one pooed on the floor at my wedding, says Mary, but my friend did end up in the doctors after a high-energy edition of the Siege of Ennis. No better high-energy edition to have.
What's the Siege of Ennis? What's that one?
So there's the Walls of Limerick and the Siege of Ennis.
What's the Siege of Ennis?
Casa. Is that the Walls of Limerick?
Whenever you're that drunk that you think you're an amazing dancer, but you're actually not.
Oh, right, okay.
What about this one? I don't know. I don't know about what... Oh, no. I don't know what I ever did to annoy my sister, but she decided to steal my limelight on her wedding day and announce her pregnancy during her speech at her sister's wedding. That's not on, is it?
You know who you are.
You were kind of thinking it's not that big a deal.
I think that's a big deal.
But sure, you've already gotten married. You're done.
No, but you're upstaging the day. And then everybody's going around going, congratulations.
Yeah, but people might have been trying to get her to drink all night, and she was like, I am sick of this. I'm pregnant, lads. Stop trying to get me to drink.
Well, obviously, Jenny's not too impressed.
I don't know.
We were also talking about a restaurant. Where is it again? We're in the restaurant. Can we remember?
Oh, yeah. It's in Mount Mellick.
Mount Mellick.
Yeah.
There's a restaurant Mount Mellick, and they're asking you to bring your own plate. They do a lovely takeaway, and instead of putting it into an old box that you'd be all soggy, bring your own plate along. They'll put some cellophane over it.
And you get a discount.
And you get a discount. And Mark says, my granny is constantly stealing cutlery from restaurants, so bring your own plate will save me a lot of embarrassment.
Granny, what's in your bag there?
That's a lovely fork. Where's me bag? That's a lovely fork. Put that in your bag there.
That's like you at a hotel,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
All the toiletries, Alaska cleans it out.
Everybody takes toiletries in the bathroom, the hotel. Don't you tell me that you've never taken toiletries in a hotel.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Rebecca says, I'm trying to find faults with this, but I just can't. Who wants to pay for a soggy box that's going straight in the bin anyway?
Bring your own plate. You get a discount.
No one wants a soggy box. Rebecca, thank you very much for that.
Absolutely not.
Cheers.
Up next.
Nothing worse.
She was a permanent fixture on our television screens for more than 40 years. Be devastated with us.
She will. She's so classy that she should not be in here with us. Newscaster Eileen Dunne joins us for a chat after we take a break. Take a break from the three of us. We'll talk to you in a second. That's me. Sorry. Welcome back. Professional. Got to be professional. Professional is in the room. Our next guest became a familiar face in living rooms around the country after spending 42 years delivering news stories from at home and abroad.
So join us to look back on her time in the newsroom. It is, of course, Eileen Dunne. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Nice to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. We're in illustrious company this morning. Looking back on that, you retired back in November, an incredible career with RTE. But am I right in saying at the very start you'd planned to go into teaching?
That's right.
But your dad had a different career path in mind for you.
Well, yeah, I always wanted to be a teacher, and I was over in France teaching, and an ad went up for radio announcers, and it was the end of 1978, beginning of 1979. There was a huge postal strike here. So Daddy got on to me and he said, I'll fill out an application form here. I'll send you one, but in case it doesn't come back, I'll do the one here. And so I always say he got me the interview, because every fesh, every concert, any public speaking I ever did, he remembered it all. I just filled out the form and stuck it in an envelope. You know, he was a lot more meticulous.
And normally it's the other way around, that the parent would be like, teaching, get into teaching. Don't mind this newfangled road. This is never going to work. Like, it's one of the opposite ways that you normally hear this story.
Except that he was a broadcaster himself.
So that's why he was like following my footsteps.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, with him, he was GA commentator. He was RTE's first Gaelic Games correspondent. But I suppose with him, the GA was the priority and RTE was the means to an end. He had been working in the Irish press. With me, it was kind of different. When that red light goes on, something happens.
Well, exactly. It's something that probably you can't get from teaching. I mean, that's what I love about this show, is that once the red light is on,
we don't realise
anything can go wrong,
30 seconds.
which is the problem with it. But in that, you covered some incredible news stories, some very difficult news stories as well, in those over 40 years. Like, is there anything that you look back on your time that really impacted you, from a positive or even a tougher news story?
I suppose there are several. I suppose the first one that always springs to mind to me is Dunblane, the shooting in the school in Dunblane, which was in 1996 in February. And I had a 6-month-old son at that time. And it was, so that story impacted me in a way that stories like that hadn't up to then, if you like. And of course, one of the people in that classroom was the tennis player Andy Murray. He was only 7 at the time. So I suppose that's one. Another one is the whole lead up to the Good Friday Agreement, and, you know, because for the first time I was involved in those kind of rolling news bulletins. And so apart from the historic nature of the agreement itself, it was personally a very
And it was on a knife edge as well, I'm sure.
It was, of course, the whole of Holy Week. Yeah, you just, one day it seemed on and the next day it didn't. So it was, it was exciting.
And the thing is, as a newscaster, your job is to maintain this balance, you know, to emotionally be quite balanced, because you're going through news stories that, like, there could be people who have died and the next thing there's something about farming that comes up. You know, you've got to find that tone, which sometimes you must be there going, God, lads, this is a bit of a gear shift for me now. Hold on.
Totally. Yeah. But I suppose, no more than yourselves, again, when the red light goes on, you kind of go into a certain mode. You sort of react outside in the newsroom. You can, oh my God, look what's happening, or you're reading stuff on the wires coming in, all that kind of thing. But when you get in, the same as a teacher standing up in front of a class, you're not going to be in your best humour every day, but you still, it's like a performance.
Yeah. Do you find that then, like, even when Dunblane happened, you can't get choked up in a story that touches the heartstrings?
No, but I hope that you can see empathy. Okay. I mean, if it's a political story, you should not know how I feel about the story, obviously. But if it's a story like that, you know, I hope I don't look stone cold either, you know.
How would you find it now? Because, of course, RTE have become the news story over the past few months.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be easy either.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're sitting there reporting on the organisation that you've worked with, that an awful lot of people are. For years, your friends all work inside there, loads of people are involved. And when it happens to your own organisation, and it's happened before in the past.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It must be a bit of a surreal experience.
It like another story. You just, you know, again, you go into newscaster mode.
Have you found it difficult to watch the story? You know, listen, Ryan is a great guy, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to see him back on our airwaves again.
For now.
It's been I'm sure as somebody who had such wonderful memories in RTÉ, it must be so difficult to see what's going on at the minute.
It is, yeah. And I mean, and it's not just Ryan, it's what was going on elsewhere in the organisation. And I understand that a lot of my colleagues are extremely angry over the whole thing, but then people are jumping on it as well. So, you know, it'll resolve itself eventually. There are a lot of good people in RTÉ, and Ryan is one of them. Kevin Backhurst is one of them. You know, they'll sort it out.
And Eileen's like, there was an Eileen Dunne shaped hole in the door. It's got nothing to do with me anymore. I'm fine. So in the retirement, you're kind of busier than ever because you're involved in the Kennedy Summer School.
I am. That's one of my projects.
How long have you been involved with that?
Oh, I've been involved a few years now. I went down, Eileen Whelan, my pal and colleague, her husband, Larry Donnelly, is very involved.
And
Eileen, a couple of years ago, there was a gang of us out for lunch, and Eileen said, you should come down to this, you'd love it. And I did. So the first year I went just as a punter. And then I got to know everybody there and sort of making a couple of suggestions. And I said I might come back. And the chairman, Willie Keelty, said to me, if you come back here next year, I'll have a job for you. And so it turned out. So I've been involved now for the last number of years. And obviously this year I've been able to give more time to it. So it's been great.
Like incredible speakers at it as well.
What's the aim of it? Like, what's it all about?
It's just a celebration. It was started by, among others, Noel Whelan. God be good to him. Barrister and, you know, pundit. And he's from New Ross, and himself and Willie. And it's a celebration of, obviously, drawing on the fact that the Kennedys originally hailed from New Ross. So it's a celebration of Irish-American politics, culture and history. And that's just very wide within that. I mean, this year we're looking at the 50th anniversary of our EU membership. We'll have Commissioner McGuinness and another panel discussing all of that. We've got the Canadian ambassador opening up on the Thursday night. But we like to say there's something for everyone in the audience. So, for example, say that Thursday night, we have the Kennedy Tea Party. I don't know if you've seen photographs of the tea party that took place at the homestead in Dunganstown when he came 60 years ago this year. Now, it got too big for Dunganstown, and we were hit by the weather a few times, so we now hold it in the Arboretum. And that's in the afternoon. And then the focus moves to St. Michael's Theatre on the Thursday night. It's being formally opened by the Canadian ambassador. They're having their own troubles at the moment. Then we have a panel talking about celebrity politics. It could be Trump, it could be Boris, it could be, you know, so Terry Prone is in that, Dermot Murnaghan from Sky and Gerard Howland. And then we have...
So bring the rescue remedy for that one. The anxiety will be going on.
I mean, soccer manager Martin O'Neill.
Fantastic speakers, including Martin O'Neill as well. And it is, of course, the 31st of August until the 2nd of September, New Ross in County Wexford as well. I do have to ask you, like, you retired in November. How are you enjoying life away from the TV screens and being able to actually get out there and enjoy yourself?
Yes, well, I am.
Are you?
I am. I mean, I was ready in my head. I thought about going a few years ago and I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I stayed. I'm glad I worked through COVID, all of that. But I was ready now. I was ready this time. And for example, I was out west last weekend and I was going to come home on Monday. And then I thought, I don't have to go home. So I'll stay till Tuesday.
And I'll continue to read the papers until Tuesday.
Well, that's it. You know, there's that. You don't have to be home on a Sunday night with all the Sunday papers read to be ready for Monday morning. I can take an extra day. Not worry about it.
Take an extra day.
Amazing. Good
like
on
Alan
you.
Hughes.
Exactly.
Eileen Dunne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Pleasure. Still to come, we're going to be taking a closer look at fashion's classic colour, camel.
Camel. Are you surprised?
Camel it is. There you go.
Plus, we are going to be dishing the dirt on the latest drama in our showbiz news. We'll talk to you shortly on Ireland AM.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you very much, Cliodhna. We've had a gorgeous Monday morning here along the banks of the Royal Canal in Dublin. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we're staying in the Captain, in fact, because we're off to pay a visit to the zoo. So that's all to come live from 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Lots to look forward to. Now, final look at weather together, and it is a dry and settled start for most days. Some bright spells begin to push through that cloud, albeit showers there through parts of northern Leinster and across the northeast as well. Cavan and Monaghan in the firing line too, so stay nice and dry if you're in that neck of the woods in those freshening southwesterly winds. Now, across the day, we will see cloud thicken through Connacht up across the northwest, where we're going to see some heavy and persistent rain land into early afternoon. Winds too fresh and gusty, especially for western northwestern regions too, so stay nice and safe out there today. Top temps of 17 to 22. And finally then tonight, still quite wet, quite windy across the western half of the island, drier and a lot calmer then as we push away the further east southeast we go, with those winds abating as we work our way into your Tuesday morning, with overnight lows there 13 to 15 degrees. So for me and Jason here on cameras, that is your final weather update now this Monday morning.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
Hello, now we're about to see some beige brilliance on the catwalks this morning.
She got the memo.
I didn't.
She got the memo.
I genuinely arrived to work and said, that doesn't fit me. This thing might.
Stylist Rob Condon, when he saw what Miriam was wearing, said, do you know what, we'll just do camel tones this morning.
Yes, exactly. We're taking lots of inspiration from Miriam this morning.
But she is a style. Tones.
Yeah.
She is a style icon.
Exactly. So we thought we'd take some style inspiration this
Can we
morning.
please move on to the lovely Sarah Marcy as we're getting blown out of it. Sarah, what's Sarah wearing this morning? Our casual look.
We are all about camel tones. It's all available from West End Shopping Park in Blanchardstown. We've gone cosy and casual with this outfit here on Sarah. I think what's great about camels, it's a great transitional colour to bring you into autumn, winter. And with this, it's all about layering up. We've got the hat, really oversized hat. A little bit of a Western romantic vibe going on with this look here, but it's a really cool and casual look, but stylish at the same time. The hat there from New Look, and then we've got the glasses, which we've gone with an aviator gold glasses here.
Gorgeous.
And then with the cardigan here, we've gone with an oversized cardigan. This is available from Deals. You can see as it goes down onto the cardigan.
Yeah.
We've got those bellowing sleeves to the cardigan, a really stylish piece to add to your wardrobe. Great price point at €20 for this cardigan. Lots you're going to be able to do with this in your wardrobe, whether you want to layer it.
Yourself,
yeah, we have belted it, but if you wanted to go with kind of a slouchier look with it, take the belt off and you're definitely going to get that. You could go with a dress underneath this, even bring this into your workwear wardrobe, you definitely could. With the belt then, that is €10, so it's a leather brown belt bringing in
just
all of
put a
those
little tee
camel
with it and
toes.
a pair of trousers, or
Yes.
a pair of...
We've gone cargo pants with it there.
Cargo pants.
So they've got an elasticated waistline. We've got the bag there. So we've gone with quite a neutral with the bag here from Next. But again, it's working really well with all of those tones. Then with these cargo pants there, you can see the pocket detail into them there. They're really lightweight as well. So they're going to be a great piece to bring you into autumn, winter at $33.99 there. And then onto the shoes. Really great pair of shoes. You can see the brown mixture to them with the white. So it just brings all of those tones together with the look. But again, all of these pieces you could definitely mix and match. You could dress those trousers up with a pair of heels, a nice blouse with it, and definitely with that cardigan throw with a pair of denims, it's going to work. We've thrown it with the logo tee underneath.
Camel star to Sarah for keeping the hat on. She almost lost it about 10 times. Fair play to her, Sarah.
Exactly. We're dressing things up here a little bit with Ciara's look here. So we've gone a little bit safari style with this dress, which we're going to see lots of coming through for next season. I love this dress. It's all about that pocket detail to the top of it and the gold button detailing which goes right down it. You can see the V-neck line to it, so it's only a slight V-neck line to it. We've got the earrings then. They're 90s style hoop earring, which works really well with the button detail into this dress.
Beautiful, because the dress is just, I think it'll suit all shapes and sizes, really, won't it?
Definitely. It's going to suit a lot of different sizes because it's A-line, it's pocket detail into it, so it is going to suit a lot of different sizes, and it does go up to a size 20 in this dress. And you can see it's an oversized, it is an oversized pocket detail into it as well. Then we've brought in the camel tone bag there. Really great bag. It's quilted. Again, that gold detail, and you can see to the buckle and the strap of this bag just to match back in with the buttons.
Lovely.
And then
it is lovely, isn't it?
And then to finish it off, we've gone with these gold soled heels. They're a pointed heel. You're going to get so much wear out of them for autumn, winter. You're going to be able to put them with lots of different things in your wardrobe. Even throwing these with a pair of jeans, a black leather trouser, they're going to go great and dress something up.
Gorgeous.
Lovely.
Thank you,
so
Ciara.
much. And Danny.
Yes, we're moving on to Danny. So this is the one that we took a little bit of style inspiration from your outfit, Mirren. We've gone with the oversized blazer with this skirt combo. It works really well, and we've gone with lots of different. It is tone on tone, but they're different tones.
A lot of statements with the jewellery here.
Yes, we're making lots of statements with the jewellery. With the earrings, you can see all the 3 pieces are matching in, but these are a really statement earring. They're a drop earring, and even going with a plain black dress and adding a pair of earrings like this is just going to give you that va-va-voom to it. And then with the necklace, it's matching in there. You can see it's like a rope detailing to it, and just a really statement piece.
So the neck piece and the bracelet are
They're all part
the necklace, the earrings, and the bracelets. They're
now
all
let's get on
part of that.
to the main event.
Yes, we've got this blazer, so we've gone really oversized with the blazer. You can see the faux pocket detailing to it. Now, we've upsized in this to have that kind of slouchy appeal to it. So it's kind of that boyfriend blazer. It's oversized, which is going to go great in your casual wardrobe, but you can see you can really dress it up here by going with a printed blouse underneath it. Really great blouse. It's animal print. You can see the V-neck line to it. We've gone up with the collar here, and then we've tied it in at the waist. If you wanted, you could definitely tuck it into the skirt. And this skirt is a great...
It's lovely tied.
It is. It's nice. It's just adding a little bit of a different appeal to it, but you could tuck it in if you wanted to and belt it. Then with the skirt here, a really lightweight skirt, just a great, it's like a faux silk skirt that you're going to get so much wear out of in your wardrobe.
They're really handy.
Yeah.
They're great handy with runners.
And Mirren's wearing the exact same skirt.
Exactly. And then we've gone...
From a different high street shop.
And then the bracelet, which we said was matched in with the earrings there and the necklace. And then we finished it off with these shoes. Great pair of shoes. You can see they're a strappy sandal. They're pointed. I'm going to go with lots of different things to your wardrobe because they're quite a nude with the shoes, so they're going to match in with lots.
Lovely outfit, Danny.
Lovely.
Thank you
Danny.
so much.
Yes.
Sarah's back with us now for our final look.
Sarah is back with us, and the MAC is back this season. We're seeing lots of it, and it's a great piece for at the moment.
It never goes out,
does it? It doesn't, but it comes back in different styles, and it's all about layering the MAC this season. And this is a great one that's available from Next. You can see the oversized collar detailing to it. First off, then we've got the sunglasses there. So again, bringing in those tones of camel with these sunglasses and working really well with the look.
Gorgeous. And then we're going to move on to the... I do think that everyone should invest in one good one. It'll last you for years.
Exactly. It's all about investing in a good one. You can see the pocket detail to it here. It's going to go with so many different things in your wardrobe. Whether you want to bring it to your casual wardrobe, your dressy wardrobe, use it as a layering piece. As we get a little bit more into autumn, winter, you can put a denim jacket under this. You could layer it with a leather jacket underneath it and use this as your outerwear over it.
Gorgeous.
Then, as Sarah just opens it there, you can see we've gone with the same tones underneath it. So it's a knitwear vest, round neckline to this vest, and then we've tucked it into the trousers here, and we've gone with the leopard print belt, just putting a splash of a print there. With the trousers then, they're available from Next. They're a little bit of a cargo appeal with the pocket detailing to them, but they're a wide leg to these, so they're a little bit more dressy.
Still trying to make the cargo pant happen, aren't they? They're not going to give up until we all buy a pair.
Definitely not give it up, and they are a high-waisted trousers. And then we've got the bag there, which is available from Pep & Co. at Deals. So you can see the black trim to this bag as well, just bringing in another colour to it.
Great price for bag, isn't it?
And then a really great piece. And then we've gone with the pointed toe shoe, and they're a little bit of a smaller heel, so they're a kitten heel with these shoes. So if you're someone who wants to go with a smaller heel, or if you're someone who's tall and wants to go with a smaller heel, they're the perfect new
Loving
shoe
those
for you.
cargo pants with that belt.
Yeah, they're really nice. And you could even bring this to your workwear wardrobe as well. And it's all available from West End Shopping Park in Blanchardstown.
Well done. Delightful. Love all the looks today. Thank you so much, Ryan. Cheers. Thanks a million.
Now, coming up, Ali Ryan from Goss.ie is here with all the latest showbiz news.
We'll see you after the break. You're very welcome back to Ireland AM, where we're about to get the lowdown on the latest happenings from Tinseltown.
Yes, bringing us all the celebrity news is Ali Ryan from Goss.ie. Good morning to you, Ali. How are you?
Good.
And we're talking about two stories. That one we've just heard this morning about Chris Evans, but also Dahi O'Shea talking about it over the weekend, and that's their diagnosis of skin cancer.
Yeah, I think it's actually really important that these two really well-known, really well-liked men have come out and they've talked about it. I really think that skin cancer is one of those cancers that people don't really speak about that often. And especially in Ireland, I think people believe it just won't happen to you here because it's not that sunny. But it's actually quite big here. And it's really interesting.
One of the largest skin cancers. And we must say this is Chris Evans, the BBC, the former BBC, the English broadcaster, not Chris Evans, the Marvel superhero.
No. So Chris, basically, there's 3 different types of skin cancer. So Chris basically has melanoma, and then Dahi O'Shea came out and talked about having carcinoma is what he has. So Chris basically came out, and God love him, like he had a prostate cancer scare in 2015. He was given the all clear from skin cancer in 2020, and now again. So at least he's been going back and he's been getting checked. But he's about to start treatment, and I think it's really important that these stories get told, because I think it makes people go home and be like, do you know what, I'm going to double check that mole. I'm going to have another look. I'm going to put on the factor 50. And especially hearing from Dahi, I mean, aside from you and Tom, you know, Dahi's my favourite on Irish TV. I love the 3 of you. So hearing that any of you guys would be in any way in trouble, I hate it. But again, I love that he came out and he talked about it. But yeah, there's over 13,000 new cases of skin cancer in Ireland with sarcoma, which is what Dahi has as well. But he came out, he talked about it. Same sort of situation.
So it's the basal cell carcinoma, which is also what Hugh Jackman continually has. So he keeps on getting bits, having to take off because it's something he lives with. And it was interesting,
like Dahi said, he thought it was an ingrown hair. So it's just a little reminder to have a little check if you have something. I've been like that before. If I have a little mole, I'm like, oh, it's grand. But you're better off just going in.
Any changes at all? And
any sort of change, even something getting slightly bigger. And especially with the summer just gone, if you're watching and there's something a bit funny, go and get it checked.
Absolutely.
Because when you get it in the early stages, skin cancer is very treatable. It's just you have to get it early. So.
And Chris Evans just announced that this morning on his Virgin Media Virgin Breakfast show. So we hope that he does okay. He's found it in the very, very early stages. Now we're going to have an update on what's happening with Britney Spears and the Sam Ashgari divorce. This is the news story that I actually heard when I was not paying attention to anything last week.
Something new because she's come out with a statement now.
The whole, like, I'd love to say I'm surprised by this. I'm not in the least, right? So they've been together for 6 years, and I think 5 years of that big chunk is while the entire conservatorship controversy was going on, and we were all like, is she safe? Is she okay? Where is she? I don't know if you remember, but loads of fans thought Sam was, like, involved in why she wasn't on Instagram. Then she got freed from the conservatorship. It's this huge moment. You know, she had her little speech in the court and everything. And it seemed like a happy ever after then. Fairy tale, got married. Madonna was there, Selena Gomez. Seemed amazing. But I think cracks started to show quite early on. He hasn't really been seen with her that much. I think, in fairness, her social media is getting stranger and stranger. So people were wondering again, are they happy? Is she happy? But they both announced a divorce. Now, it's complicated, right? Because a lot of this is alleged reports, so just keep that in mind, OK? So he basically, from his side, is saying that she attacked him in his sleep. Then there's accusations that she cheated with someone on staff. But then she came out and gave a big statement and was like, this has been horrible. I've had a really, really hard time. It hurts so much. So I don't think we're going to fully get the exact story of what's going on.
But she did have a divorce party this weekend.
She had a divorce party with 5 topless men, had a great time in her house, had them over, all on social media, of course.
As you do.
As you do. Why not? She said her 5 favourite men came over. But it's interesting, like, Sam is like 26, 27, I think. He's 29 now, but he was very young when they got together. He was basically a nobody. Now he's a movie star. So, but the one thing that I love...
Is he a movie star?
No. But what I like is that she had her prenup done by the same people who freed her from the conservatorship. So if they did that for her, I'm hoping that this is ironclad.
Oh, yeah. Her divorce attorney is the sort of person who does Tom Cruise's, like, everything's going to be fine.
I think the reality is, like, I know everybody wanted her freed from the conservatorship, and that was really important, but she is still, like, a vulnerable person, I think. And, you know, who is around her really matters. So I hope for her now that, I mean, some people close, her mom kind of came out and said she didn't like him and didn't think he was bringing her down a good path. So hopefully this is a positive breakup, and we'll see some more good news. She's a new book coming out.
Her memoir, The Woman in Me.
The Woman in Me.
A big deal for Simon & Schuster. It was announced a few months ago.
It's only coming out in, like, I think a month now. If even, 3 weeks, I think. And she's apparently new music coming out. Now, she did release a song with will.i.am there a few weeks ago, which completely bombed. I'd say you didn't even hear it. But I think if the book comes out and that's a success, and it's all going to be about the conservatorship and what went on, there might be a chapter in there about Sam and what's been going on there. So I think she's going to be a busy bee, but I just hope there's good people around her because she needs to have support.
Yeah, she really does. She needs a break, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She really does. Now, Love Island, what's the latest?
How are we still talking about Love Island?
How are we still talking about the Love Island that nobody watched, but you loved it?
Except all Virgin Media viewers, we loved it. So Scott, who I actually hated on it, he was the guy that plays for the Shelbourne football team here, that was with our Catherine at the very beginning.
Yes, the Welsh guy.
Yeah, he never got with anyone on the show. I didn't like him, but fans were obsessed with him. By the end of the series, they were slamming Catherine online. They were like, Scott is king. Then he just waltzed on into the US version of the show. Now, the reunion of Love Island was only like 3 weeks ago, and during the reunion, he basically teased that him and Catherine might be getting back together. Obviously not. He's wandered in now as a bombshell to the US version of the show.
But hold on here now. He wandered in. It takes a lot of time to get onto Love Island because they basically... So the producers of Love Island in the US said, oh, this guy's made headlines over in the UK.
Let's bring him over.
Let's bring him over.
But you know what's so funny about Love Island UK? It is way bigger than the US. So people in the US watch Love Island UK. So when he was sitting there at the bombshell kind of moment where you get the text, all the girls were like, Scott! Like, they all know him. You know, you would never know who's won Love Island USA. Same reason why Maura is now on the show, which I'm delighted about. So Maura is basically there as like the backstage reporter. Yeah. I think that was going on for a few years back and forth because when Maura first came out, she didn't really do anything with Love Island. I don't think she wanted to be associated with the show anymore. I'm delighted that she's embraced it because she's one of the biggest stars to come out of it. And there's rumours now that she might be taking over from Sarah Hyland. She's the girl from Modern Family. She hosts the show, but she's playing a blinder over there. They absolutely love her. She did the walk-in that like Maya Jama did. She looked amazing on camera. And she's seeing someone new as well who's a body double for Chris Hemsworth, the Australian hunk who plays Thor. So they're a gorgeous looking couple.
Hello?
Yeah, gorgeous looking couple. He's meant to be lovely. He's in Fiji with her, so they're filming it in Fiji. So she's over there having dates with him on the show. I'm delighted for her.
I'm so delighted for her. She was always lovely.
I think this is her breaking the States. Like, I think this is going to be big for her. And I think it would also make her bigger in the UK. I think we could see more TV work for her. I think it's what she wants to do. So I'm delighted for her.
Oh, she should be. She's brilliant.
She is
amazing.
She's TV gold.
I just love her bringing back home. Chris Hemsworth, body double lads. Can you imagine him getting through a nightclub?
There's pictures of the two of them together. Have a look on Instagram.
The local pub, my God.
Come here. OK, we heard the news last week that Ryan Tubridy not coming back to his radio show. And, of course, then the rumour mill started.
Who is going to replace him?
I was at a party on Saturday night, and that's all because there was a couple of people who are actually standing in for him there.
I know exactly who you're talking about as well. I'm like, in other news, Brendan Courtney's been filling in there recently. And, you know, there has been a few fill-ins. So there's been Brendan, there's been Oliver. It's mainly been men, so I think there's going to be a guy that's going to come in. Now, Miriam and Sarah McInerney, they're in the kind of odds that they might do it, but I do think it's going to be a guy. Now, there are rumours that possibly Patrick Keelty might take the show as well, and I don't think it's the worst idea because he's coming into the slot of the Late Late Show not really being familiar enough to everybody here.
But also, hi, Kat, Delia, my 2 children, I'm moving full-time, or does he do the show from London?
Bring everybody over. We'd love Kat. Kat would be the new Princess of Ireland. She'd be great. But yeah, to be honest with you, from what I've heard, the decision has not been made. It hasn't been made. There's a lot of people in the running. There's some great broadcasters out there. Like I said, Brendan Courtney, Brendan O'Connor as well.
Loads of people. Could be anyone.
Tommy Bowe.
Tommy Bowe.
Working.
Myrne O'Connell.
Thank you so much for joining us today for all of that.
Very much
and that is all we do have time for today. Tommy, tell us what's coming up tomorrow.
Oh, coming up tomorrow, there's going to be lots of news, sport and weather. Everything you're waking up to. We'll be back here tomorrow from 7 o'clock.
Is that better than Ryan could do it?
News, sport, weather,
Is that a radio voice?
Busy old show coming up.
Catch you tomorrow. Bye.
Great to be back.
Bye-bye. Nothing.